Okay, now borsjtj. Really traditional, world-famous Russian dish, but Ukrainian will say that, of course, it's not Russian, it's Ukrainian dish. But, you know, nowadays everything is so combined and very complicated, so we're gonna say it's Russian dish, like we said, crème is Russian as well. So, what we need for borsjtj? For borsjtj, for sure, we're gonna need some beef. But of course, I need to tell you that there are too many recipes of borsjtj. In every family in Russia, there is a special recipe of borsjtj, and they're gonna be a holy war, like should we add cabbage in borsjtj or not? Should we add, some families say that a real borsjtj should be without beetroot, but usually the ingredients for the borsjtj are: first of all, for the stock, you're gonna need beef. I would say you will need parts like brisket, I have here. You need a lot of connecting tissue here, so all these pieces will give a flavor to the stock. You don't use a lean meat. You will never use a tenderloin for borsjtj, you will never use lean cuts. You'll need as much connecting tissues as possible, but you don't need too much fat on this piece of meat. This is not fat, it is connecting tissue žila in Russian. So this will give a nice flavor to the stock. For the vegetables, for sure, you need a Russian mirepoix, which consists of carrots and onion. Of course, you need some potatoes, cabbage and beetroot. You're gonna flavor your borsjtj with tomato paste, bay leaf, garlic and black pepper. You start with, actually there are several things you can do beforehand, and keep in mind that the borsjtj gets better overnight. So it's better to cook borsjtj day before, and the next day is gonna be stronger and the flavor gonna be richer. So first you start with the stock. For the stock, in Russia there is no such thing like a garnish and stock. It's usually all together. So I'm gonna cook the stock from this brisket, and after that I'm gonna take it out, cut it in pieces and serve borsjtj with it. So for the stock, I take a nice pot of cold water. I immediately put my brisket in. And the second thing, of course I'm gonna add some vegetables later, but the next thing I need to do is my family secret recipe. We don't we don't fry the beetroot, we roast it. So for roasted beetroots, you're gonna need some aluminum foil. You're gonna need the oven, which is preheated 180, some vegetable oil. Remember, we don't use any olive oil in Russia. Some salt. Wrap it. You put it on a tray and goes in oven approximately 1 hour or even more. 1 hour, 2 hours, you cannot overcook the beetroot. Just like this. Since my beetroot is in oven, and of course you can roast a lot of beetroots, and of course you can do this beforehand, 1 day before, 2 days before, make nice salad with beetroot, dressed herring, селедка под шубой, for example, or whatever you want. So the beetroot is in oven, the stock starts to boil, and I'm gonna prepare some mise en place for my borsjtj. Okay, you start with your onion. You don't need all of this onion. We're gonna need like half or 3/4 of that. Watch your fingers. You don't want big pieces of onion in your soup. My suggestion to you is to save your time and save your fingers. These will go in the stock this way. So this goes in stock. This goes in stock. This we're gonna roast and add to the soup. Now carrots. For carrot, usually we can use a grater. If you have a mandolin like this, Japanese or French one, you can use a mandolin, or you can chop it by your hands. I will chop it with my knife because maybe you don't have it. But in traditional Russian home cooking, usually you use a grater. All the trimmings you put in the stock. Okay, as I said before, you can use this one. And if you are not good in chopping, it's better to grate your carrot like this. Actually, my grandmother always grates vegetables for soups and for ragus. So it's okay, you know, it's not a big difference. Okay, so these I'm gonna roast in a pan. Now I'm gonna cut the cabbage. And for cutting cabbage, you need to remove your stalk. When you chop your cabbage, you take a piece of cabbage like this. You can remove the heart of a cabbage here. And you chop it with a knife. For borscht, the traditional cut is julienne. So you can julienne everything except onion, because julienne onion is not really good and tasty. The stock is boiling. So I remove the heat to minimum. I want it to simmer, and I want it to simmer for 2 hours. Actually, I want it to simmer till the brisket is tender. Okay, I would say the cabbage is enough. Next step, you need to remove your foam. So you take a spoon and you remove all this dirt. Okay, from now on you start to saute your vegetables for your mirepoix. First you add some oil, vegetable oil to a pan, medium heat. Wait a little bit. First, you're gonna add some onion and carrot in. After, you're gonna add some tomato paste. Meanwhile, while I'm preheating my pan, I will take out my beetroot. Is already baked. Paring knife. As you can see, my beetroot is soft enough. This is how you check your beetroot. You poke it with your knife. Peel it. The secret of a nice borscht is that you want to have a lot of vegetables inside, a lot of beetroot inside, a lot of stuff inside. It should be thick. There should be a lot of stuff going on, which is why I will peel 2 of this beetroot, and I'm gonna grate it because I don't want you to spend too much time on cutting. Okay, my pan is hot enough. Medium heat. Onion in. First you start with the onion. Meanwhile you grate your beetroot. In some recipes, people don't roast beetroot, but they fry it on a pan. But I discovered that the taste of a borscht will be much richer if you will roast it instead of frying. There should be soup in every Russian lunch, because the Russian people do believe that eating a soup makes you healthy at least once a day. And it's quite cheap. So sometimes the Russian lunch consists of a soup and main course, salad and soup, but there should be soup eaten during the lunch. And the Russian soups are not just broth or stocks, they should be rich, they should have a lot of stuff inside. And what differs Russian soups from any other soups, that we never puree them. It's usually something with stock with the pieces of a meat, of a veggies and grains. So now I'm roasting my onion. I'm gonna add some carrots to it in a few minutes. And I keep an eye on my stock, because I don't want too much of this foam to be floating on the top. Now, of course, you need to add some black pepper and bay leaf to your stock. Actually, this one goes to every stock in Russia. Bay leaf and pepper and black pepper are the only spices Russian people use. Of course, sometimes you can find some allspice or clove, but usually you use it when you marinate the vegetables, make preserves. In everyday cooking, bay leaf plus black pepper is a spice used in traditional Russian cuisine. Forget about the fennel seeds. Coriander is more like Caucasian stuff. Bay leaf, black pepper. Okay, my onion is almost ready. Carrots in. Since you don't feel comfortable with Russian food yet, I hope, my advice to you is to use scales. We'll give you the recipes of all these dishes, and you better scale all the ingredients so you're sure the balance is okay. So you leave your stock like this for approximately 2 hours. You want it just to be simmering like this, not much. You want it to simmer like this because this temperature is the only temperature when connection tissue will dissolve and become tender. If you will boil it too hot, the meat inside gonna be too tough. You want your vegetables to be almost done before you add your tomato paste, because this one is quite sour and there is too much of acid inside. And if you add too much acid to your vegetables, it will prevent cooking. So first you make sure your vegetables are almost ready, and after that you add your tomato paste. And of course, you want to roast it a little bit to release all the flavor of the tomatoes. Otherwise, the flavor gonna be plain. Meanwhile, you prepare your meat and your stock is almost ready. And of course, this one is boiling already for 2 hours. So you will remove all your meat because you want this meat inside your borscht. And you sieve the rest. This is the base of your soup. I will wait a little bit till my meat cool down a little so I can cut it. Now it's time to add some tomato paste to your mirepoix. You need to roast your tomato paste with your vegetables. And in borscht is very important, the tomato paste. You need to add nice amount of it. Meanwhile, cabbage goes in stock. Cabbage takes a little bit longer to cook, so you start with your cabbage. After that, you will add your potato. And actually, we are ready to combine our borscht. I'll wait approximately 7-10 minutes, but it's better to check because sometimes cabbage is old, sometimes it's new, and you never know how much time will it take to cook it. Meanwhile, potato. I prefer my potato to be cut in quite big pieces. And since we are cooking for home, I will not bother trimming my potatoes. I will cut like this. Of course, there are too many different types of borscht. For example, the really famous in Russia type of borscht is a cold borscht. When you use quite the same ingredients, but they're cold. Sometimes in Russia we have a hot summer, and then beetroot, yes, but you substitute cabbage, onion, carrots with the vegetables like cucumbers, radish, and you make a cold borscht. Smetana goes well for sure with it. If you are really strange Russian, you can cook vegetarian borscht, but for me is not working because there should be rich stock in it. Of course, maybe you can try make some umami broth for that with seaweed, with shiitake mushrooms, maybe, probably, but there's a thing you need to work on. It's not really traditional stuff for Russian people. Usually the borscht is with meat and should go with meat. Now it's time to put my potato in, because my cabbage is almost ready. And what is left, you add your fried vegetables in, but this goes last because it's quite acid, and acid prevents the vegetables from cooking. So this you keep aside. Actually, you can make this beforehand, 1 hour before, 2 hours before, even 1 day before, doesn't matter. And the beetroot. Since the beetroot is cooked already, you can put it any moment, but keep in mind, if you will boil the beetroot too much, the color will turn from like rich brown to really yellow even, or like light red. So you never boil your borscht too much, otherwise it will lose color. Our cabbage is ready, potato is cooked through, so now it's time to find out the nice pieces of meat here, put it in. Next goes beetroot plus our mirepoix with tomato paste. So let's do this. So the meat here, you take out these pieces of connecting tissue, but if you like them, I like them, you can put them in your soup. You just cut your brisket in pieces like this. If there's a little bit of fat on it, it's Russian cuisine, so you need to love it. Of course, the secret of a nice borscht is to take as much meat as possible in. After that, beetroot in. And last, carrots, onion, tomato paste. You mix it well. And maybe at this stage you may find out that you need to add a little bit of water. But as I said before, this is how it used to be eaten in my family, because borsjtj is more ragu than soup. There are a lot of stuff inside. You want to bring it to the boil, and after that, the last step is you're gonna add some sugar, salt, maybe vinegar. It's gonna be the last step. But now we want it to be simmering. Okay, now, for sure I need to add some water. And after that, crucial, salt and sugar and vinegar. Salt is obvious, you season everything. Sugar, sometimes your beetroot is sweet enough, so this is to your taste. But keep in mind that the real borsjtj should combine sweetness, sourness and saltness. These three key ingredients and key aspects of a nice borsjtj. So, salt I will add for sure. And I will never tell you how much salt should be added. You should taste it. Sugar I will taste because I'm not sure if my beetroot is sweet enough. Definitely a little bit of sugar. Just a little bit, because my beetroot, at least beetroot in Russia, is sweet. Nice. Last step here is vinegar. Really small touch, because otherwise you can spoil all your borsjtj. I will make it like this, no more. After that, you just simmer it or just keep it warm for another 10-15 minutes, because you want your cabbage to be nice colored. So you want all the vegetables to extract all your flavors in your soup. And your soup is almost ready. 10 more minutes and you're done. Final step, some garlic in. So, plate, chopped herbs, dill, this I will save for later, parsley leaves, okay, look how thick it should be. It's actually thick enough to be a main course of your lunch. Color is nice, but if you boil it too long, it will lose it. Nice spoon of smetana in. Herbs, almost in every soup in Russia. Okay, so as you can see, we use only basic key ingredients, and for Russian cuisine is usually roots and grains. We didn't use any grains here because recipe doesn't supposed to be any grains in it, but the roots. Roots, of course, is a really basic of a Russian cuisine. Beetroot, potatoes, carrots, parsnips sometimes. And nowadays I hope this soup gonna be quite popular in Russia, because nowadays everyone is poor. This you can find anywhere. Beetroot, tomato paste, potato, carrots. In every shop, costs nothing. Except the meat, which you can substitute for, I don't know, vegetable stock, chicken stock. I've met recipes when people in Ukraine cook this soup with the pork, for example. But the key here is balance between sweetness, sourness, and saltness. So enjoy your borsjtj.